So we've now been in Myrtle Beach, staying in an RV with Heath and Alyssa for a full week. And like, this is another couple that's pretty much like living life in a very similar way to us, of like traveling full-time together and working full-time together. So we thought it would be a fun opportunity to do a Q&A about like relationships on the road and working with your spouse. So we each post it on our Facebook pages, and we ask for you to send in your questions about relationships and working together on the road.
24/7.
Constantly
Be interesting.
being together.
All right.
You guys,
do it.
okay.
Oh, me start?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not gonna ask that one question first, right?
So Michelina says, if dog years to human years is 7-1, what is 24/7 RV marriage or around the world marriage compared to a regular 9-to-5 marriage?
I've actually thought about this before, like how much more time we spend together than the normal couple. And I think it would be fun to do like an actual calculation.
Yeah.
So like if you have a 9-to-5 job, you probably spend 30 minutes in the morning before breakfast. I don't know.
Nobody's conscious before breakfast.
Okay, so you're not counting that as like
Let's
quality.
count
Okay.
right.
I'm definitely not.
So like after you get home from work. Like
So say you get
5:30.
home at like 5:30. Yeah, 5:30.
So
benefit
like
of the
4
doubt.
hours a day?
So
That's
10,
all you
yeah.
get with
So
your
10.
spouse?
Yeah.
Let's give it
Yeah,
5.
how much on the weekends?
5:30 to 10:30. Let's give it 5. And weekends, we'll assume all
12
day.
hours.
12.
12 week. I don't know.
Assuming you wanna hang out
49
with
hours a
spouse.
week.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how much do we have? 12 hours a day?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
put
so 12 times 7.
So together as like a full-time couple living together, we spend 4,368 hours a year together.
I feel like this will parlay probably
Wow.
nicely into like whatever the next question is, which is probably going to be something like, how do you keep from like not wanting
How do
to?
you not kill
Yeah.
each other? So how many for a normal
So then
marriage?
49 times
Normal marriage.
50.
Like we're not
Well,
normal.
Yeah.
2,548. So like we're almost double.
Almost double.
Yeah. So I would guess 2 to 1.
So we've been
time.
married for like 6 RV years, 3 human years.
Yes.
Wait.
It's almost our 8th travel marriage.
Hillary asked, what type of discussions do you have when deciding where to go next?
I do
Oh.
all of it.
Well, she basically like
No, I do all of it.
she gets on Pinterest and Google Maps and like basically plots our route, and
I
then
look
she
at
says,
pretty pictures on Pinterest, and I like choose based on that. I want to go there, there, and there. And then I put them all on Google Maps, and I say, here's our route. And he says, cool.
I think Nate normally chooses our route, and my first question is, what's the weather? Is it warm?
So we,
And
Yes.
if it is, then I really don't care.
Weather's like the most important factor.
It
Almost.
really is.
we haven't announced where we're going next yet because nothing's for sure. But like, I'll give you a perfect example of how things come to be. I was sitting on my computer bored the other day, and Kara was in another city with friends. And I texted her and I was like, how'd you feel about riding a train from Portugal to China, like all the way across Europe and Asia? And her first response was, what class? I told her we probably didn't have enough money to afford first. And then she was like, okay.
Pretty much.
And then it's like crazy ideas like that that ultimately like lead to where we end up going.
Carla asks, living and working in close quarters has many benefits, but how do you handle disagreements?
I would say like over 90% of our disagreements come from working together, because we've just started
Yeah.
vlogging, and you know we handle all of our clients together, so that's where like most of our dispute comes. But as far as like how we handle them,
Gloves come off. Duke it out.
I don't know, how would you say?
It's interesting
Yeah.
when you're with your spouse 24/7, because it's like you kind of have to get over it, because you're
Yeah,
not
you
going
do.
anywhere.
You have to get over it. Like, you can't just like walk away because you'd be like in a foreign country by yourself all of a sudden.
Exactly. Like, I feel like before we were traveling, we'd probably give it like a day where I'd be kind of quiet. I get quiet when we fight, and then the next day I'm over it, and we never really had to work it out. But now there's no like ignoring him, because you're always there.
I think there was a fight like in our first year, and we're in this 29-foot RV, and Alyssa like runs to the back, and we don't even have like an actual door, right? It's like our bathroom door that opens and like kind of closes in the little thing, and she like slams it and it like pops back open. And
I slammed it like 3 times and it just kept like bouncing back, and I was just like, that's it.
like in hindsight it's hilarious, but it's like, yeah, you have nowhere that you
Fight's
can
over.
go, so it's like you just are up to each other to figure it out. Yeah.
It forces you to work through things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
I think it's been really good for our marriage. Because I was not good at fighting.
She's very passive.
Before. Yeah. I can fight now.
Okay, so this one's pretty broad, but what has been the hardest part of being on the road for so long?
Not having like
community.
enough, like not having enough good friends. Yeah. Well, I'd say like we still have friends,
Yeah.
but not seeing them a lot.
Right.
And like, I'm a social person. Like I get filled up by going to, like hanging out with you guys this week's been awesome. And, like meeting people on the road and just random places is cool. But I'd say that's been like the hardest part for me personally.
Like we're all in our 20s and there's not a whole lot of other people in their 20s that are traveling full time. So you kind of have to find people in other age groups, especially RVing, because they're all significantly older. Like you have to find common ground other than your age.
Yeah, being away from friends and family.
Yeah.
But then it also leads to cool like stuff like this. Like y'all lived in
Exactly.
Texas,
We never would have
and we
met
lived
y'all.
in Tennessee,
Right.
and we would have never been friends. And now we're hanging out in Myrtle Beach. So there's pros to it. As well.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
That was a question.
Jody, this is too funny. She said, I thought I envied you two, but I never actually thought what it'd be like to be 24/7 together in a shared space. How do you take a healthy time apart?
That's a great question.
I wake up like 2 hours earlier than Alyssa every day.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So it's like I kind of have my time in the mornings, and sometimes if I don't get all of that time, I get a little bit cranky probably. So it's like, hey, I'm trying to like finish whatever I'm doing. So we do that. Sometimes I'll just get out of the RV and go for walks.
Yeah, well, we're like constantly stuck together, but like I definitely get up earlier than Kara does, and I have some time to myself in the morning. And then she edits with like both headphones in, so like we might physically be right
Yeah,
next to
but
each
that's
other.
alone time.
Yeah.
Like we
Right.
don't communicate during that time.
Yeah, she's
At
in
all.
her own world editing, and I'm in my own world
Yeah.
doing whatever I do. Community and friends are extremely important in life. How do you guys grow individually or separately without having community like that at home?
Well, we have our Facebook group, which is like,
Sort of a good place to connect.
what do you mean sort of a
I
good
just mean
place
it's
to connect?
online. It's not.
Well, yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like whenever you're traveling all the time, like having an online community is like
Yeah.
as good as it's gonna get, unless you just want to constantly connect with strangers. So
Right.
like having all these other full-time RVers that I can like complain about an RV problem, like I know there's people that I can go to and they would understand.
Yeah. This might sound kind of silly, but like the YouTube community is a new thing for us. Like we didn't have a YouTube channel before we started traveling. And I feel like I know the people that comment on our videos. Like we have a lot of regulars that like, I know where they live, I know what they do for a living. Like I expect them to comment and I enjoy talking to those people.
So there's there's been a motorcycle rally going on here in Myrtle Beach, and today's Sunday, so like everybody's going home after the weekend. But
Finally.
like this weekend there were like hundreds or thousands of
Thousands.
motorcycles.
The
Heard
name
on
of the
Sunday.
event was Suck Bang Blow.
It was a very classy crowd. They had some live music at the campground last night. I really wish somebody recorded on their phone.
I did.
I was
Okay,
afraid
so
to. You did?
Maybe we'll insert one of the clip. It was like,
It's like PG-13 though.
Oh,
like
and maybe more than that.
Maybe
Lots
more.
of
I don't know if you can see, but you probably don't want to.
yeah.
There were-
It's just a little sneak.
there were too many men without shirts on the dance floor.
And women.
It was
Yeah.
more or less what was happening to the men without shirts on. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay,
It was an experience.
back to the Q&A.
Back to community. So I definitely think for us, like we're missing out on a lot of community that's going on at home. But like knowing that this isn't forever helps me not like dwell on that too much. Like I know we're missing out on a lot, but we're also getting this new community of people that like I Facebook message with all the time. And it just kind of makes all the work we do in our videos worth it when people are like, I plan my entire vacation because of your YouTube channel, and that makes me feel really good.
You're gonna get a lot of Facebook messages.
Message me. I love it.
That one's funny, but only applies to RVers.
No.
Go for it.
You can ask.
Do you guys almost get a divorce on moving days
Or is it just us?
or travel days?
Oh, we thrive on travel days. We
Really?
love travel days, but it is a little different.
We started doing something that was helpful. It's called the RV Olympics. And like I would go
We made it
do
up,
the
obviously.
like I would go to the outside of the RV, so I'd take care of like dump hoses, like water and everything else, that she would take care of all the inside stuff, and we'd time ourselves to see how fast we could do it.
Yeah.
Which was like
Nice.
gamifying it, like helped with the fact that we wanted to
We
sometimes
could do it in like 4 minutes.
it was pretty quick, and so that kind of helped because it was like, okay, now we're not mad at each other, we're trying to break our record.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I wonder if I could do that with Kara packing to leave an Airbnb.
The only way I could zip my bag is if everything is in the perfect spot, and sometimes that takes time.
I understand.
That,
I'm
I
gonna
will
have to
say,
sit
like,
on it.
travel days are a lot of fun after we get out of, like, the Airbnb. Because, like,
Yeah,
it's the
that
same,
part's
like,
not
fun.
with a hotel or an Airbnb, like, you have to be out by a certain time. And Kara always underestimates how much time it's going to take her to, like, wake up, get ready, pack things up, and leave. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, the maids are waiting outside of the hotel room for us. We've got to get out of here.
That's happened too many times.
All right, this is our last one.
Okay.
What is one thing you've learned about each other since traveling full time? What is one thing that annoys you about the other? Okay, so it's the last two. So before Kara and I started traveling full time, we dated for 6 years and we had been married for 2. So we'd already been together for 8 years. So I don't necessarily feel like,
There was much more to learn.
yeah.
I feel like y'all have learned how to work together from like a video perspective, because y'all talked about how different it's been since vlogging,
That
and
is
how that's a
true.
totally different episode change of y'all's marriage.
Yeah, working together has definitely changed our marriage. I
It's-
call Nate boss a lot, and he really doesn't like it.
It's,
But Nate's the business guy. Like, I didn't go to college for business, and so Nate makes all these decisions that I don't know is a good or a bad one, and so I just say, yes, boss.
there definitely is. I do hate that. There definitely is like some fine line between like being a husband and not like being a boss, but just like working together and make sure like we get videos put out and like we get Sunday summaries sent out. And that, I would say we've learned more from working together for the past year and a half than we have like traveling together for the past year and a half.
I mean, for better or worse, we were married for a year before we started. We were together for a year before we started traveling.
Before we got married.
Before we got married and started traveling. So that was like, we didn't have that whole base of things. So I feel like I've learned so much, because I think the big one has just been communication, like figuring out how to communicate things in a way that doesn't make me sound like a jerk.
Yes,
Especially like when we're
that's
working
huge.
together. And
Yeah,
I
like
watch-
when you watch my video and you're like, that shot is terrible.
Yeah, so trying to be more positive. I feel like I've learned that.
Getting married and starting to travel on the same day is
4 days
crazy.
later.
4 days later.
We left
Fun
4
fact.
days later.
Their honeymoon started 4 days after their wedding, and they've been 24/7 together ever since.
For 3
Nate and I
years,
had
yeah.
that marriage time, like get used to marriage, then get used to travel, and y'all just
Which I think is the smarter way to do it.
no, y'all went big. I love it.
They literally jumped in an RV for their honeymoon and went to all 50 states.
And I feel like that was a
Crazy.
great decision, because
was.
then we didn't have to worry about like getting settled into like apartment life or house life or home life or whatever, and like the whole 9 to 5 thing. Like we could make this big leap together.
It's definitely a crash course.
Rest of your
like,
life.
Yeah,
like,
crash course.
Like it's either gonna work or it's not. You know, like
It's a good test.
yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. None of us said the
Oh,
annoying
the
things.
annoying
though.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe we shouldn't do
Well.
this. We all have to spend the rest of the day together.
It's gonna get real.
we can
very
make a
yeah.
whole separate video.
Let's do it. It'll be good
I,
content.
I fart when I eat ice cream. There it is.
No, that's not the most annoying thing about you. I was gonna say the most annoying thing about you is that you take your work too seriously. When our work is like travel's supposed to be fun, and I feel like you can't take it too seriously, or you're gonna take the fun out of it.
There's definitely a good balance. Since Nate, you probably don't have an answer. I'll go.
I thought of 3.
Oh no! Okay, then you go first.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm really trying.
It's like
to
I've
think.
been making a list.
When you get hungry, you like hit this point to where like of irrationality.
Hangry.
She gets
Yeah.
very, very hangry, and like no matter where we are, whatever restaurant it is, like whether it's like the most terrible and most expensive restaurant in the world, like that's where we have to go eat because she has to eat.
Well, you shouldn't let me get
Right,
to that
yeah.
point. You should know
I'm with
that
you.
by now.
I'm with you.
You live and
Bring
learn.
snacks and keep them fed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I also get to a point when I'm like so hungry, I don't even want a snack because it's like not good enough. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm this hungry, I'm gonna eat something good and worth it. I don't care what it is, but like not peanuts.
Like cookout.
Yes.
It's that, and your just like sense of time, of like needing to get out of the place.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta go to the airport early in the morning. You're like, oh, I just need like 20 minutes to shower, pack, do my makeup, dry my hair, and we'll be out no problem. I'm like, that takes you 2 hours.
But then you shouldn't book our flights for 5 in the morning, because you know I can't do that. Can I say yours?
Sure.
I hate it when I say something on the camera and Nate makes me redo it 500 times because he didn't think he was holding the camera still enough. Like, that's not my fault.
It's not gonna be a good shot if I'll take the credit for it being my fault, but
I don't like to redo things because then it's not authentic.
Well, sometimes I make your coffee and I bring it to your bed, and
No,
you
he's
don't-
most annoyed at the fact that I'm very critical of him.
wait, you can't pick Heath's annoyance. You get to pick his annoyance.
You're overbearing. I think
What's annoying about me?
that you can't be wrong a lot. That's kind of true, and you probably would admit that. Like, you have a trouble being wrong.
I feel like we should talk about something we like about our spouse now.
Yeah. You're really cute, though.
Yeah, you're cute.
I love you.
I like that Nate brings me coffee every morning, except for he's taking that job this week.
I've been handing it to Nate, so technically, by default, he has to.
I've been taking credit for the delicious lattes.
He has actually, like, every time I'm like finished with the latte, he's like, make sure to like get up and make the hand.
That's so funny. I love that both of our husbands bring us coffee.
I know.
It's the best.
I think that's my favorite.
I think my favorite thing about Kara is just like her happiness all the time, except when she's hangry or just waking up in the morning.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. I would say for me to you is your sense of humor. I think we have like a very similar sense of humor, and you
We're funny.
make me laugh a lot.
All right, I feel like we should wrap this up.
This got super corny and then like super deep really fast. It was all just supposed to be about like Q&A travel questions with your spouse, but whatever.
Now we're just like confessing love to each other.
We
Okay.
love each other, bottom line.
Before we close it down, I want to tell everybody that you have your main focus is your website. So they have an awesome blog. I was about to say vlog because that's what I say every day. They have an awesome blog about living and working in an RV.
Yeah.
Is that how you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So if like you're interested in RV life at all, definitely go check out HeathAndAlyssa.com. We'll link it below. Heath has a podcast on RVing.
Yeah.
They've recently started a YouTube channel where they're making vlogs and other videos that also have to do with
RV life. Yeah.
They're pretty much
All
like the
about
RV.
We were super
Experts.
creative on the name, Heath and Alyssa, just like Kara and Nate.
Should have planned an ending for this thing.
Should we go to the beach?
To the
Yes,
beach!
let's go to the
Alright,
beach.
Beach time.
Thanks for taking the time to do that, guys.
Yeah, totally.
That was really fun.
I think it'll be fun. I think it'll turn out well.
What was the
And we're still recording, yeah!
I like the frame on that a lot, actually.
Oh, let me make sure this is still recording. That'd be a bummer.
That's a great idea.
Oh, it's still recording.
You can.
But he does refuse to admit that he's lactose intolerant. And I'm like, you clearly get sick every single time you eat dairy. Why do we have to keep having this conversation?
It's delicious.